Visualization plus inspired action are two of the most powerful tools in a champion's toolbox. If you ever take a look at high-level athletes, you'll often notice that when you compare them physically, there's not that big of a difference in terms of what they can actually do with their bodies. But yet, you'll oftentimes see people constantly be the winners in athletic endeavors. And what oftentimes the key component is that creates that difference is their ability to control their minds and positively visualize the results they want to get. So the question is for you is, are you using visualization in your daily life to succeed in the ways that are most important to you? Hi everyone, Chris Natzke here with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching with your Mind of a Champion tip of the week. Visualization. One of the tools that I've used throughout my career, not only as a martial artist and as a Division I football player, but also now in my role as a speaker and a coach. You know, I've always kind of thought that if our hearts are where our desires originate and our bodies are where we manifest it, it's really our minds that kind of act as the sculptors to be able to bring these to fruition. You know, I've often loved the statement which says anything on this earth was twice created. It was first created in our minds, and then it was created in the physical realm. And one of the things that I love teaching, and one of the things I love doing in my life and in my career, is utilizing visualization to get specific about what I really want and make that come to reality in my life. One of the studies I think really puts this into perspective is one I read several years ago, and I oftentimes will share this with my students who are getting ready to test for their black belt. It was a study that was done at the University of Chicago. And what they did is they brought a whole number of students together and they had them take free throws. So basketball shots from 15 feet out. And what they did is they had everyone come out and take all their free throws, and they took a baseline of how many they could make, say out of 10 or 20 free throws. And then what they did with these subjects is they divided them into three separate groups. And Group A was the group that they asked 5 days a week to practice free throws for 15 minutes per day. So these people were asked, okay, go to the gym, practice 15 minutes every day making free throws. That was Group A. Group B, what they said is, don't touch a basketball, don't think about basketball for the next whatever the time was, say it was 30 days. So same time frame. And then what they did with Group C is they said, we don't want you to pick up a basketball, but we just want you to visualize 15 minutes a day making basketball shots from the free throw line. Well, when they all came back, here's what they found. Group A, as you might imagine, had the greatest increase in terms of their performance. They increased 24% in their ability to make free throws versus the baseline. And Group B, as you might imagine, had no increase. They didn't think about it. They didn't do anything. They just flatlined in terms of their performance. But here's where it got really interesting. Group C, the group that was asked to just visualize each day for 5 days a week over the time span, their performance and accuracy grew 23%. So only 1% off of the people that physically practice it each and every day. Now, what I'm not saying is if you have an endeavor that takes you, takes your ability to do something physically, that you don't do any exercise around it. That's not what I'm saying. But man, imagine if you were able to combine your physical activity with your visualization. Imagine what types of results you could get. So what I want to do with you is I want to share with you what I think are three powerful strategies for using visualization in your lives, in your careers, to get the breakthrough results that you're looking for. So number one is this, is focus in your visualization on the process. Let me say that again, focus on the process. Many times in visualization, what we'll do is we'll visualize ourselves on the medal stand. We'll visualize ourselves with so much money in the bank. We'll visualize ourselves having the athletic performance or the business performance that we want. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I find is a more effective means of visualization is focus the process, the things that you would do in order to get that. So for instance, if you were going to have a sales presentation, don't just visualize your customer signing the agreement. Visualize yourself being engaging in the presentation, being persuasive, having them react positively to what you're saying. And then of course, from an athletic endeavor, it's not just the day of the event where you're performing, which is super important, but also visualize your training, your workouts, because what you're doing is you're instilling that inside your mind and in your cellular memory. So make sure that you're focusing on the process. Number 2 is to make it a full sensory experience. We are full sensory beings. We don't just see, but we hear, we smell, we taste, we touch. And one of the most amazing things that I find is when I'm getting ready for an event, is I try to get myself in a full sensory experience of what that will be. For instance, when I'm going to be giving a keynote talk, I'm not just visualizing in my mind, the things that I'm going to be saying. I'm actually visualizing myself on stage looking out into the audience. I'm visualizing the way they're responding to what I'm saying, that they're laughing at my jokes, that they're nodding their head in approval of the things that I'm saying. I'm in this full sensory thing. I'm also feeling, what it's like to be on that stage from a visceral standpoint, what it feels like in my body. Are there any certain, smells that I might even smell? I mean, I'm really trying to get fully engaged in that experience. So when I'm on stage, I've already rehearsed it. And now I'm just following through on what I created already in my mind. And then finally, number 3 is to see what you desire despite obstacles. Now, what do I mean by that? Many times it's very, very easy for us to visualize the end result of something positive we want. But sometimes, or almost all the time, when we're going up for something big, we're going to have some obstacles around it. It's going to show up. And so what I'm saying here is see yourself positively overcoming those obstacles that you have already thought about might be coming in your mind. Case in point, in 1999, when I won the National Taekwondo Championships in Daytona Beach, Florida, in my training in the weeks prior, I injured my right hamstring. So it was one of those things where it was a nagging injury. I couldn't get it to heal. And so, but what I did is I was imagining in my mind how if that became re-injured during the course of one of my matches, how I was going to positively overcome it and how I was going to still win the match. And so when you know it, it is, here I am in Daytona Beach. It's my first match, the third round of my first match of 4 that I need to complete in order to win the gold medal. And I throw a spin kick on my first opponent. He blocks it and my hamstring pops. So I centered myself after, of course, being in fear. I won the match, by the way. And then I went underneath the bleachers and I rehearsed what I had been rehearsing in the past of how I was going to overcome that injury. And won my next 3 matches and the rest is history. But had I not been ready for that, I'm almost certain that I wouldn't have been able to overcome it. I would have been, caught in that fear and anxiety of having an injury. So there you have it. There are 3 strategies that we can use. And again, it's not just an athletic performance. It could be a crucial conversation that you're going to have. It could be a sales presentation. It could be a keynote talk. It could be a talk with one of your loved ones that's important for you. It's whatever you need to do to get yourself best prepared to be able to show up at your best. Those 3 things, again, being focused on the process, make it a full sensory experience, and then see yourself and your desire happening despite the obstacles. I'll leave you with this. Years ago, one of my mentors and coaches told me, he said, Chris, if you're going to fantasize, you might as well win. So how about it, folks? How about this week where you have an opportunity, where you've got something big coming up, to put yourself into that place of powerful, positive visualization so you can get the results that you want. So thanks so much for listening. This has been Chris Natzke with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching, and we'll see you next time on the Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week.